Welcome to Aviation Careers Podcast. My name is Carl Valerian. I'll be your host today. Today, we're going to talk about how you can make $1 million a year as an airline pilot. And this episode is really for those people that want to know if you can make that much. Also, how to maximize your earnings as an airline pilot. Just to let you know, I'm actually on the opposite side of the ring. I like to get as many days off as possible. So let's get right into this. But first, a quick update from our sponsor at Strumer Law. Strumer Law is giving away 100 scholarships guides. That's that scholarships guide that we have that has over $120 million in scholarships. It's over 1,400 pages long, and you can get one for $10. That's all. But if you use a coupon code Strumer Law, you can get one for free. The law offices of Robert M. Strumer, LLC, handles various aviation matters, including FAA safety investigations and pilot medical certification. You can find them on the web at www.strumerlaw.com and use that coupon code Strumer Law to get yours for free. You can actually find out more of those free coupon codes at aviationcareerspodcast.com/free. Well, let's get into this episode. Can you and how do you make $1 million a year as an airline pilot? First of all, yes, there's people that make $1 million a year as an airline pilot. And to understand how that happens, that's what I want to kind of dig into here. So there's some people that watch this that aren't airline pilots and don't believe it can be done. But there's also people out there that make really good money as airline pilots. So let's go through my list of ways to make $1 million a year. And I know some of these seem very obvious, and some are, I know some of you are going to give me some feedback as to, well, I don't know if I can do that or not. Well, that doesn't mean you have to make $1 million a year. You can just go ahead and try to maximize a little bit and try to maximize also for your days off. That'll be another video, by the way, because I'm the kind of person that likes to only work about 8 days a month. We'll talk more about that. So here's a simple one. Number one, work more hours in the day. Work more hours in the day. Well, that's really easy. If you want to actually get paid more, we get paid by the hour as airline pilots. Therefore, if you work more hours in one day, you will actually get more pay. That's a little bit trickier than me just telling you that because, first of all, to be able to work more hours a day, you have to be a little more senior usually to bid those trips that pay more per day. Now, usually we're limited to fly 8-9 hours in a day, but there are other ways to make more money through, augmentation of crews, through also being able to use what's called soft time, and we'll get into that. So real simple, work more hours in a day. Bid those trips that are paying like 8, 9, 10 hours, even 12 hours in a day. I know some of you are going to say, well, you can't do 12 hours a day. And you can with augmentation and also with soft time. No, the other number two to how to make $1 million a year as an airline pilot is know your work rules. Know your work rules. That's important because within those work rules, and those work rules are those contracts that we sign either through the union or through the contract with the company that you're working for, know the specific rules because you can use them to your favor. For instance, if, say, in certain rules in airlines, and this is fairly typical, if they really need someone that day to actually fly a trip, say there's some weather or something like that, there's actually things in the rules that allow them to advertise, say, a trip that pays at 1.5 to 2.5 times whatever the pay rate is. So if you know your work rules and you know that those trips that you can pick up that are actually paying at time and a half or double time are out there, you can go ahead and pick those up. That's a simple work rule. More complex work rules are ones that say that you know that your airline allows you to get paid time and a half once you get past a certain number of hours. Know those rules. Try to work 75 hours, say. We'll use that as a number. Once you get past 75 hours, you might get paid time and a half. So if you could, make sure you understand your work rules to be able to get paid that extra. Also, maybe you're asked to do something by the company. They call you, ask you to do something, and by knowing your work rules, you know that you need to get paid X amount of dollars for whatever that is. So say, for instance, they ask you to move an airplane from point A to point B. They need you to do it right away. They're willing to give you 2 times your actual earning rate, 2 times your actual earning rate. Number 3, the thing that I talked about a lot is called soft time. Soft time is kind of interesting. What is soft time? That means that you're not flying. You're usually deadheading. So, for instance, there is no rules out there with the FAA as to how many hours you can sit in the back of the airplane as a passenger. Those rules are based on work rules. So if the company wants to pay you 24 hours a day to sit in the back of an airplane flying around at your pay rate, then boy, that's a pretty good deal. So you just have to look at, those trips that say, for instance, say you're in Orlando, Florida. I'm close to Orlando, and they want you to fly a plane to New York. And they say, hey, listen, we're going to fly you up to New York, but to get you back home, we're going to have to deadhead you 3 times to get you back home. Well, those deadheads are actually soft time. That's not actual flight time. Also, within your trips, you may look at those trips that actually pay soft time. Soft time is also time that you get paid even on overnights, where you get a certain amount of pay per day, that type of thing. Again, that goes back to knowing your work rules, right? Say you're on a long overnight and you're in a certain city, you may get paid more, or a certain zone, you may get paid more than other people. So again, that's going back to understanding that whole soft time thing. Soft time, soft time, soft time. That's what we used to always talk about. The other thing is this: become more senior at an airline. It sounds pretty simple, doesn't it, right? So that's why a lot of times you hear a lot of folks out there talking about the most important thing is to get hired soon so that you can become more senior. By that meaning that the fact, and for those that don't understand the airline pay, you get paid based on how many years you're there. You also become more senior on the list, the seniority list, based on how much time you have with the airline. So your bidding is based on the date of hire, basically. So if there's 10 people that were hired before you, those 10 people get the choice as to what they want to fly. And those trips may be the highest paying trips. Though those are the kind of things that you want to think about, is the fact that, this is going to be something that I can get paid more for, but it's going to go to someone senior. So try as hard as you can to become more senior. Stay with the airline, in other words. A lot of people say, jump around to the different airlines. The downside to that is you stay at the bottom of the seniority list. Of course, move from the airline to airline until you get to your actual goal. But you never know what that goal might be. And that's the reason we do the career coaching, is the fact that, hey, listen, you might think that you want to go to XYZ airline, but now you're at an airline that you really enjoy, but in your mind you were thinking you should go to XYZ either because of your friends, your parents, or originally you thought that that's what you're supposed to do, but you're real happy where you are, and you see an opportunity to make more money at the airline you're in right now. Well, if you stay at that airline, you're going to move way up the seniority list there. So again, most airline pay is about 12 years you max out. If you become 12 years moving up the seniority list, you're going to be your highest pay. So there you go. That's an easy way. Get 12-year pay. How do you do that? Well, stay around for 12 years. That's simple. The other part is number 5 is bid the highest paying position available. Normally, the airlines pay based on the size of the aircraft and the number of passengers. So try to bid, say, 777 captain, 787 captain, as opposed to a narrow body captain on a 737. You're looking more in the range of the $450 per hour, as opposed to the $300 to $400 per hour. Of course, every little bit counts. And by the way, just as an aside, how to figure out how much you get paid per month. It's usually 1,000 hours per year you get paid. That's about 83 hours per month you'd have to get minimum credit for that month, either through flying or soft time, etc. You can do more than that, obviously, by actually bidding more trips. Working every day. Maybe you have a minimum pay at your airline of 5 hours per day, whatever it may be. The more days you work, the more you're going to get paid for that month. So go to the highest paying position. So that's another way to make more money. And there's a fine line here, and again, we can talk more about this in a more one-on-one career coaching session. But sometimes it's at times better to stay a little more junior at a certain base than moving up to the next high-paying position, because you actually get the trips that pay better at this base in a smaller aircraft, and you actually can make more than the person flying the bigger aircraft. Amazingly enough, a good example is you see people flying international, and that's where it's perceived that you make more money. Well, there's a lot of people that make a lot more money flying domestically. They just know how to bid their schedules and understand the work rules. But in general, what you want to do is get on the paying aircraft, and also the highest paying position, and that is actually as captain. So the other thing that you can do is increase the amount you are actually paid through, let's call it premium pay. Premium pay meaning those times that you're paid time and a half, double time, triple time. For instance, say there's weather, they pull you off your trip and you're supposed to get 5 hours of pay for that day. Then you're sitting at home and you see a trip that pops up and it's paid at double time if you just pick it up. So you get the double time for that trip. Then you get paid for the straight time for the other trip. You just made triple time, and say you're making $400 an hour, that's $1,200 an hour, and say that's 10 hours, say you get paid for that day. It's a leg with a dead head. You're looking at $12,000 for a day. That's really good money, no matter what way you cut it. So that in certain years in the beginning of the airlines when I started, that was as much as I was making close to a year. So it is pretty phenomenal what you can make in an actual day. And I'm talking airlines, by the way. I don't want to keep the corporate guys out, but that's a little bit different as far as the way that they're paid. You can do a daily rate. We could talk more about that in a future episode. But strictly, I'm trying to talk more about the airlines. So premium pay, times that you may pick up over the holidays. Premium pay, double time for holidays, triple time even, that type of thing. So those are the kind of things you want to do. The other thing, number seven is let scheduling know that you are available. Now, I know I'm going to get a little feedback on this one. The scheduling department has certain rules they have to follow as to who they call to give the trips to. In other words, it has to go to either reserves and that type of thing. But if And this happens, right? If you're the type of person that always answers your call, the call from scheduling or cruise services, whatever you guys call it, and they ask you to do something and you say yes, you're going to get put on a quote unquote yes list. In other words, we're going to call this person first. You can't just go out and say, hey guys, I want to fly, call me first. But and you have to be careful because there's some real interesting work rules out there that you have to comply with, that if they call everybody, after them calling everybody, and they know that you're around and you're local to whatever airport that is. Some people keep a list in cruise services. Once they run out of people, they're going to call you. So let scheduling know that you're available. And that kind of goes along with the next thing, and that's number 8, which is answer the call when scheduling calls. You may not be on that list, but if scheduling calls you and they know, say you live, for instance, I'm near Tampa, Florida. Right now I'm in Lakeland, so the closest larger airport would be Tampa, Florida. And they know I live here, so then they call me and say, hey, can you do this trip up to New York? And we'll pay you at double time. And by the way, it's just one leg and it's deadheading back. It's 2 days of pay. And you're like putting it in your calculator and say, oh boy, I'm paying my mortgage this month with that one. So you think about those things. Think about the fact that if you see scheduling call, answer that phone. Now be careful. You read your work rules, you read your contracts, because in some contracts, depending on if you're on some type of a reserve that day, if you answer your phone, you may be obligated to actually fly that trip. So be careful with that one. Also, if you live close to an airport that is a destination for your airline, say you live in St. Lucia and you tell them, hey, listen, I'm available. I live in St. Lucia. Then if you ever have any problems, say someone gets sick, give me a call. Yeah, you'll be put on that list. But again, number 8, answer that call. Number 9, as to how you can make extra money as an airline pilot, is work every day. Work every day. Now, this kind of goes against my philosophy, but if you're the type of person that likes to work every day, then go for it. Now, I say that, but I'm here on my day off doing this. So I am a workaholic. I get it, but I kind of have the choice as to when I want to do certain things on my days off. But if you want to make money, work every single day. That's 30, 31 days in a month. Make yourself available. Pick up trips. There's usually these trips in open time, meaning these are the trips that were left out there, someone called in sick for, left over, that type of thing. Pick up those trips. So try to work every day. You can also make yourself available every day. Some airlines, most airlines, have the ability to mark yourself as eligible for reserve or eligible for a trip. And you can get paid sometimes double, even triple time for that actual trip. So put yourself out there, work every day. The other way to make more money, and this is number 10, is to trade your way to higher pay. Trade your way to higher pay. And to do that, meaning that say you have a trip that pays 7 hours a day, and you see another trip that pays 8 hours a day. It's the same footprint. It's say 2 days long. Go for the one that pays 8 hours per day. So you trade your trip for that higher paid trip. The other thing you can do through trading is to actually work with, sometimes there's these quote unquote trade boards that they have out there. They say, hey, do you want my trip? I want to trade it for something that pays more, and say that trip is appealing to somebody because it has an overnight in a city that they really want to go to. Then go ahead, boom, you got it. And now you're getting paid more money. Some people actually kind of play that game as far as trade your way to higher pay. And those are the folks that like put stuff out there on the trade board and then kind of trade their way to higher pay. It's really interesting stuff. So just kind of know your work rules, understand how that works. Number 11, work during vacation. You get vacation pay for that day, whatever that minimum is. Let's say it's 5 hours a day for vacation pay. And then if you work during your vacation, you can actually get paid above that. So whatever you work, and if it's a fishing trip, you could get paid more. So that's another way, is work on your vacation. Again, we're going back to the person that's going to work a lot. Remember that a lot of these rules mean that you're going to be working just about every day. So work during your vacation. Double dipping, and this is number 12, double dipping when canceled or removed from a trip. Say you get removed from your trip, I talked about that before, is you get paid for that trip usually, then go ahead and double dip, pick up another trip, and actually get paid that extra money. Again, you're going to be living in front of your computer. Number 13, and this is a really important one, I think, for you that has a choice as far as where you want to work. Because I like to be close to where I'm working, living close to where I'm working. So don't discount the discounts, and don't discount the discount airlines. A lot of people don't want to work for, these discount airlines, that type of thing. Well, there are people at the discount airlines making $1 million a year. I work for one of those, and it's a value airline, whatever you want to call them. You can easily make $1 million a year by actually working a little bit more and doing these rules. So don't discount the discounts. That may preclude you from going to, again, the place that your family thinks you should go, or that you were told you had to go. Say your uncle works for a certain airline, and you were told all your life you have to go to that airline. Just explain to your family, listen, I really like it at XYZ airline. I don't want to go to ABC airline. I know all my life I've been talking about ABC airline, but XYZ is now my favorite, and I really enjoy it there. So don't ever discount the discount airlines, especially if you're super senior. And a lot of times the discount airlines, they're working based off of some of these premium type of pay to incentivize people to come in, so they don't have to hire quite as many people. So and it's a cost benefit analysis. Sometimes it's better to pay people extra pay than to actually have them have more people available. And there's some formulas there, and obviously, if you know your math, you can figure those out based on statistics, breakage rates, those kind of things. And the airlines do that. Pretty cool stuff, actually. So don't discount the discounts. That's number 13. And number 14, this is the biggie. Be prepared for criticism and negative feedback from your peers. Be prepared for that. Be prepared for people calling you certain really bad names. I hear it all the time from people calling other people those names. They will try to, if you're one of those people that understands the system and has gone through all these things I've talked about as far as making extra money, they actually will criticize you because you're making extra money, because they might think you're doing something that is nefarious and something that's against the rules. You might be just following the rules and you're working harder, working every day, but let them go ahead and call you names. It's just the nature of the beast. There's a lot of people out there, interestingly enough, that watch what everybody else does and make sure those people are following the rules. Obviously, you're going to follow the rules, hopefully. But you're definitely going to get a lot of feedback once you say, pick up a trip. Amazingly enough, I'm the kind of person that does the opposite of this, making all this extra money. I'm not that type of person. I have other things that I invest in, that type of thing, to make extra money. But say I pick up a trip, and I've done this. I actually had someone call me and say, hey, what did you do picking that trip up? And this has happened twice. I had another person call me about something that I had bid for. I didn't even know I got. and that person's calling me about it. I was like, wow, this is interesting. So you're going to get that feedback. Just remember, that's just the way it is. So hopefully this helps make you understand that, yes, you can make $1 million as an airline pilot. Again, going back to that whole thing, say you're making between $350 to $450 as a captain, senior captain, either narrow body to wide body pay. All you have to do is double, say, the $450, and you're pretty close to $1 million per year, because if $450 times 1,000, double that. And then you can actually just work a little extra, and there you go. You make $1 million a year. Hopefully some of these things will help you research. And really that's what I'm trying to do, is get you to start researching your work rules and also the work rules at the companies you're going to. Say you're looking at a certain airline and you're the type of person that wants to make extra money. Will you be able to do that? Will you be able to actually make money at that airline? Another thing that people talk about is, how about like profit sharing and things like that? What I like to do is tell people to really look at a job based on what you can control, not what the company controls. So if profit sharing is something that the company can control, and I get it, if a company is profitable year after year, you're going to get more profit sharing checks, but those are not guaranteed. What you are guaranteed is if you work more hours, you're going to get paid more money, and that's what I'm talking about here. So hopefully this has been helpful. I do have a listener mail. By the way, feedback at aviationcareerspodcast.com for that listener mail. This listener mail says, hi, I'm a retired airline captain and have an interview with CAE for a position as simulator instructor. Do you offer interview preparation? We sure do. I talked about the career coaching. We just came up with something new. We're doing group coaching sessions also. One-on-one coaching I've always been doing. I don't promote it much because I'm so busy with it. Like today, I'm booked for the next 10 hours doing career coaching right after I do this video. But I also have started this group coaching sessions just to keep you motivated. And what we do is we have a specific topic that we talk about. We have an inspirational story, and then we have Q&A. And that's only, I think right now, is $20 per month. And you can actually sign up for that or get out of the group, come in and come out anytime you want. And we record all the previous sessions. And it's really been a blessing. It's been wonderful. It's kind of like a live thing, and it's been a lot of fun. But it's only, for right now, it's only in 2024, it's $20 per month. And it really, I think, is helpful keeping you motivated to moving forward. Also, obviously, you can go to aviationcareerspodcast.com/coaching, and we can set up a one-on-one session. Usually it takes about 3 weeks to get into my schedule. If it's an interview prep, I do try to fit those in, but since there's such a high demand of that, we are actually continuing with the pilot interview course. That's why you've seen the podcast is only coming out every other week. As far as the normal podcast, we are starting to do more of that pilot interview course, which it has all those 500 questions I talk about that I do in my interview prep. So anyway, feedback at aviationcareerspodcast.com. If you want one of those free scholarships, guys, please use the coupon code Stromer Law from the law offices, Robert M. Strumer, LLC. They're donating those. And if you're listening to this months later, you still want a free scholarships guide, aviationcareerspodcast.com/free, and go check those out. Don't forget to follow us on all the different social media, on Twitter, on Facebook. Oh, and for the career coaching and all those other events that we're starting to do, check them out on Facebook. I'm going to start putting those out there. We're going to have fly-ins for both our Stuck Mike Avcast, our sister podcast, and for Aviation Careers Podcast right here in Lakeland. I'd like to hear what you think about our new studio here in Lakeland, Florida. We've moved to the Aero Center, which is on the north side, which enables you, if you want to come and fly in, let me know. Jump in my schedule that you're flying in to see me, and we'll have them meet you here at the door. It's the coolest thing. We'll be able to get meet up and maybe go to get lunch and stuff like that. I'd love to say hello to you and see you in person, and we'll have some more events coming up. Don't forget to check us out on the Facebook page. But if you want to make $1 million a year, or you want to make extra pay at an airline, follow all those steps I talked about. And one thing that I want you to do, though, is most importantly, once you're done with this podcast and this video, take one step today to move forward in your career and in your life. And I tell you what I want you to do. I want you to do this one step for me. Start researching those companies that you want to work for and see what their work rules are and see how you can maximize your pay. If you're working for an airline right now, check out your work rules. Don't rely on other people. Read the rules yourself, and that'll really help you move forward in your career. But if you're someone just getting started, if you're thinking about doing this, obviously we have the career coaching, but the most important thing is to go out there, do something, read a book, watch a video on YouTube, listen to podcasts, but make sure you do something today to move forward in your career and in your life, and I know you will move forward quicker than you think. Well, folks, we'll talk to you next episode. Safe flying out there.